I was just driving to the biggest pitch of my life, humming along to some old song on the radio, a normal morning, when Chloe, my sister, suddenly said, "Turn the car around." Now, her voice sharp, making my stomach drop. I trusted her, and that decision saved me from something I still don't fully get. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I'd love to know. The morning sun, usually so cheerful, felt heavy on my shoulders as I steered my old sedan toward the city's concrete canyons. Today was the day, The day I could finally, maybe, just maybe, turn things around for good. My small marketing firm, Bright Ideas, was up for the Alistair Group account, a huge $2 million contract that could solve all our money worries, mine included. I'd worked on this pitch for months, late nights, early mornings, fueled by stale coffee and the hope that finally, I'd get the big break. My sister, Chloe, was in the passenger seat, usually my calm and steady anchor, but today she was jittery. Her fingers, usually busy with her phone or tapping a rhythm on the dashboard, were clasped tight in her lap. "Hey, you okay over there?" I asked, trying to sound breezy, but my own voice felt a little tight. My hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. The traffic was starting to thicken, a usual Tuesday morning crawl. The Alistair building, a gleaming glass tower, was already in sight, maybe 10 minutes away. Chloe took a deep breath, like she was about to jump into cold water. "Anya," she started, her voice barely a whisper, then louder, clearer, cutting through the car's quiet hum. "Turn the car around. Now." My foot almost hit the brake too hard. "What? Chloe, are you serious? We're almost there. The meeting starts in 15 minutes. I can't just turn around. My mind, usually pretty quick, felt thick and slow. This wasn't like her. Not one bit. Chloe was usually the one telling me to focus, to push through. She turned to me, her eyes wide, scared, something I hadn't seen in her since we were kids and a dog chased us down the street. "Anya, please. Just trust me on this. We can't go to that meeting. Not today." Her voice was low, urgent, like she was sharing a huge secret. "Something's not right. I just found out, from a friend at Alistair. They set you up." "A setup?" My stomach plummeted. "Set me up? What are you even talking about?" "Chloe, this is my chance. Our chance. You know how much this means." I could hear the desperation in my own voice. Months of work, just gone? Because of a feeling? "It's not a feeling," she insisted, her hand gripping my arm, a surprisingly strong hold. "Listen to me. Derek Vance, from Apex Solutions, he's planning something. He got wind of your pitch, and he's going to make you look like a fool. A really bad one. Derek Vance." Just hearing his name made my jaw clench. He was my biggest rival, a slick, smirking guy who always seemed to land the big fish. He'd stolen clients from me before, always with a condescending smile. He'd been pitching for Alistair too, I knew that. But a setup? That sounded too extreme, too movie-like. "What kind of setup?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper now. My heart was starting to pound a frantic rhythm. Was this really happening? The dream? The big break melting away? Chloe looked around, like she expected someone to hear us. "My friend, Leo. He overheard a conversation. Derek arranged for a technical glitch during your presentation. Something with the projector, your slides, it would make it seem like you're completely unprepared, incompetent. He's got his own presentation ready to go, all smooth and perfect, right after yours falls apart. They'd laugh you right out of the room, Anya. It would ruin Bright Ideas." She squeezed my arm again. "It's worse than just losing the contract. It's public humiliation. You wouldn't recover from it, not professionally. Think about it. The Alistair Group. If they think you're a joke, everyone will." The words hit me like a splash of cold water. Public humiliation. Ruin Bright Ideas. It wasn't just about winning, it was about not losing everything. Losing my reputation, my livelihood, my self-respect. Derek. He would do something like that. He was ruthless. That smirking face flashed in my mind. I stared at the traffic light ahead, red. My hands were still on the wheel, but I wasn't really driving anymore. My whole body felt heavy cold. But the client, Mr. Harrison? Would he really let that happen? I asked, confused, grasping for any logical thread. Mr. Harrison seemed like an honorable man. Chloe shook her head slowly. Leo said Derek has a cousin working in IT at Alistair. He's the one who's supposed to fix your presentation right after it goes wrong. Mr. Harrison wouldn't know it was planned. He'd just see a disastrous presentation and assume you weren't ready. Derek would swoop in, play the hero, and present his perfectly functioning one. It's brilliant, in a really cruel way. A heavy sigh escaped me. My stomach was churning. It felt like a bad dream. All that work, all that hope. Gone. And not just gone, but twisted into a weapon against me. The thought of walking into that room, so confident, only to have my hard work mocked, my professionalism questioned, it made me feel sick. This wasn't just a tough competition, it was an attack. I looked at Chloe, really looked at her. Her face was pale, her brow furrowed with worry, but her eyes held a fierce loyalty that warmed me a little. She believed this. She was scared for me. And she was right. If this was true, walking into that room was professional suicide. The light turned green. Cars behind me honked impatiently. My hands, still on the wheel, felt like they belonged to someone else. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm brewing inside me. Humiliation. That word kept swirling in my head. No, I wouldn't let him do it. Not to me. Not to bright ideas. Okay, I said, my voice quiet but firm. Okay, Chloe. I trust you. I signaled, felt the familiar pull as I turned the wheel hard, taking the next exit ramp. My car, usually so dependable, felt like a getaway vehicle now. We were turning around. I had no idea what we would do next, but for the first time in minutes, a tiny spark of something, not hope, but defiance, started to flicker inside me. This wasn't the end. This was just a pause. A very angry pause. We drove in silence for a few minutes, the honking of frustrated drivers fading as we headed away from the city center. The quiet in the car was thick, heavy with what Chloe had just revealed. My mind was reeling. Derek. That snake. How could someone be so openly malicious? And the humiliation, that was the part that stung the most. To be made a fool of, intentionally, in front of potential clients who held my future in their hands. It wasn't just about losing the contract anymore. It was about protecting my dignity, my business, my very reputation. So, what do we do now? I finally asked, my voice a little shaky. My hands still trembled slightly on the wheel, even though we were just driving towards my office now, a small space above a quiet bakery. Chloe sighed, leaning her head back against the seat. I don't know, Anya. But at least you're not walking into a trap. That's the main thing. We need to figure out how to expose him, or at least, how to turn this around without letting him win. She straightened up, a determined look on her face. Leo said he only heard parts, but it sounded like Derek was bragging about how foolproof his plan was. He was super confident, apparently even mentioning a specific USB drive. A USB drive? That was interesting. So he's got something planned that needs to be triggered, I mused, thinking aloud. Like a corrupted file or something that only plays when you use his specific device. Exactly. Chloe snapped her fingers. Leo said the IT guy, Derek's cousin, was supposed to swap out your presentation's USB with a corrupted one, or maybe just load a corrupted version of your files onto the Alistair computer when no one was looking. Then, when you present, boom, nothing works. Derek acts surprised, offers his own, and saves the day. A cold rage, sharp and clear, settled over me. He really thought he could just destroy me. I wouldn't let him. I parked the car outside my office building, its brick facade looking a little tired, but still home. We walked inside, the smell of fresh bread a strange comfort against the turmoil in my head. Once inside my office, I paced, running a hand through my hair. Okay, so we know he's trying to sabotage my presentation. But how do we prove it? And how do we still get that contract? That was the real kicker. I wanted the contract badly. And I wanted to wipe that smug look off Derek's face. Chloe, ever the pragmatist, grabbed a whiteboard and a marker. First, we assume he's already done something, or will try to, before your rescheduled pitch. We need proof. Second, we need a plan B, a plan C, and maybe even a plan D for your presentation. But I don't even have a rescheduled pitch, I pointed out. I just bailed on the first one. Then you reschedule it, Chloe said simply. Call Mr. Harrison. Tell him you had an emergency, a family thing, something vague but serious. Apologize profusely. Ask for another slot. Tell him you're incredibly passionate about this opportunity and wouldn't miss it for the world, but today was just impossible. It felt risky. Would he believe me? Would he just give the contract to Derek by default? What if he says no? He won't, Chloe said with a conviction that was contagious. You've been in the running for months. Your initial proposals were strong. He'll give you another chance, especially if you sound genuinely distraught and committed. So I did. I called Mr. Harrison. My voice trembled a little at first, but I poured all my genuine disappointment and urgency into it. I explained, vaguely, about an unexpected family crisis that needed my immediate attention. I apologized deeply. And to my immense relief, he was understanding. Miss Anya, he said, his voice kind but firm, I appreciate your candor. We're looking for partners who are resilient and reliable. Life happens. How about we reschedule for Thursday morning, same time? Will that work for you? Thursday. That was 2 days away. That gave us time. Yes, Mr. Harrison. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. A small victory, but it felt huge. Okay, I told Chloe, hanging up, a spark of hope flickering. Thursday. Now, how do we catch Derek and still shine? Well, Chloe began, tapping the marker on the whiteboard. We know his plan involves your presentation falling apart. So, we make sure it doesn't. And we make sure he's there to see it, and maybe even incriminate himself. We spent the rest of Tuesday brainstorming. Our main idea revolved around having multiple backups of my presentation on different devices and formats, a USB drive, a cloud link, even printed handouts. But that wasn't enough for revenge. That was just avoiding humiliation. What if we can make him think his sabotage worked? Chloe suggested, her eyes gleaming with mischief. And then, at the last moment, pull the rug out from under him? The idea started to form. If Derek's plan was a technical glitch, what if my presentation did appear to glitch, just for a moment, and then miraculously fixed itself? What if I could use his own weapon against him? We needed something subtle, something that would look like his sabotage, but be under my control. My mind went to my old laptop, the one I used for presentations. It had a remote control feature. What if I use my own laptop for the presentation instead of the Alistair computer? I suggested. Then I control the display and I can plug in whatever I want. Chloe's eyes lit up. Brilliant. You bring your laptop. You connect it to their projector. But you also bring a second USB drive, a dummy one, that has a corrupted file or just an empty one. You accidentally leave it near the projector or make a show of using it first. And then I added, starting to get excited, when it doesn't work, I look flustered, sigh, and then say, oh dear, seems like a technical issue. Good thing I always have a backup. I'd then plug in my actual USB or switch to my own laptop and seamlessly present. But that's not enough to catch him, Chloe pointed out, ever the strategist. He needs to be seen. He needs to do something. What if, I started, a grin spreading across my face, the corrupted presentation I show briefly, the one that doesn't work, is actually Derek's own pitch. Or at least, a mocked-up version of it that exposes his scheme. That would be sweet revenge. But I didn't have his pitch. Chloe bit her lip. We don't have his pitch. But we can hint at it. We can create a corrupted slide that, when it appears to glitch, actually just shows a single, damning phrase, something that only he would understand. Or a picture, even. A picture, I repeated. Like, a picture of a snake. It was cheesy, but it would get his attention. And mine. The thought of seeing his face when he realized his plan was not only foiled, but turned against him, that was a powerful motivator. We worked late into the night, refining the plan, anticipating every move, every possible hurdle. This wasn't just about winning. This was about vengeance, precise and poetic. I wanted him to understand, truly understand, the humiliation he had tried to inflict. The 2 days leading up to Thursday felt like an eternity and also sped by in a blur of furious preparation. We didn't just have one plan. We had three: Plan A, Plan B, and a secret, nasty Plan C for Derek. My main presentation was perfect, polished, and ready to impress. But the real work was on the trap. Chloe had managed to get me a generic, empty USB drive, the kind that looks like a blank slate. On my laptop, I created a single slide file. When opened, it would briefly display a distorted image, pixelated and unreadable, and then a single, flashing message in bold red text: a slick plan, Derek. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Then, after 3 seconds, it would automatically switch to my actual first slide. It was a subtle, almost blink-and-you-miss-it moment, but it would be enough. Thursday morning arrived, crisp and clear. This time, there was no hesitation as I drove. Chloe was with me again, but this time, her jitters were replaced by a quiet, fierce determination. We were going in, not just to present, but to fight. We arrived at the Alistair Group lobby, and sure enough, Derek Vance was there, looking impeccably dressed, a confident smirk already playing on his lips. He looked at me, a quick, dismissive glance, as if to say, "What, you're back for more humiliation?" "Anya," he said, his voice dripping with false concern, "so glad to see you could make it this time. Hope everything's all right, with the family emergency." He winked, clearly implying he knew I'd made it up. I met his gaze, a calm, cool smile on my face. "Everything's perfectly fine, Derek. Thank you for asking. Just a minor hiccup, easily resolved. Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe Mr. Harrison is waiting." I walked past him, a small, triumphant feeling bubbling inside me. He wasn't getting under my skin today. In the boardroom, Mr. Harrison greeted me warmly. Derek was already there, sitting with a casual air of ownership. My stomach clenched, but I pushed down the fear, replacing it with resolve. My laptop was already set up, connected to the projector. The dummy USB, the one with the hidden message, was tucked into my pocket. My real presentation was on my laptop's hard drive and a separate, safe USB. "All right, Miss Anya," Mr. Harrison said, gesturing to the screen. "We're all ready for your presentation. Let's see what Bright Ideas has for us." I took a deep breath, walked to the front, and looked at the faces around the table, including Derek's. "Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Before I begin, I just want to ensure we avoid any technical issues, so I'll be using my own system." I took out the dummy USB, making a show of inserting it. "Just testing this connection." I clicked a button on my remote. The screen flickered. A garbled, pixelated mess appeared, followed by that bright red, flashing message: "A slick plan, Derek." Did you think I wouldn't notice? It was only there for 3 seconds, just enough time. And then, it seamlessly, flawlessly, transitioned to my beautiful, professional opening slide. But those 3 seconds were enough. Derek's face went white. His casual smirk vanished, replaced by a look of sheer, utter panic. His eyes darted from the screen to me, then to Mr. Harrison, who had clearly noticed the glitch, but not the message. The other Alistair executives just saw a brief technical hiccup that instantly resolved itself. They probably thought, good on her for having a backup. I met Derek's panicked gaze and gave him a tiny, almost imperceptible, knowing smile. He understood. Oh, he absolutely understood. The message was for him, and him alone. His jaw tightened. He slumped back in his chair, suddenly looking very small. My presentation was the best I'd ever given. Knowing that I had outsmarted Derek, that I had turned his own poison against him, fueled my confidence. Every slide, every point, every word flowed effortlessly. I spoke with passion, with conviction, explaining how Bright Ideas would not just meet their goals, but exceed them, with creative, tailored strategies. I answered questions with ease, my mind sharp and clear. When I finished, there was a moment of silence, and then Mr. Harrison started to clap. The others joined in. "Miss Anya," he said, beaming, "that was an outstanding presentation. Truly exceptional. Your understanding of our needs is remarkable, and your solutions are innovative." Derek, meanwhile, looked like he was about to melt into his chair. He didn't say a word, didn't make eye contact. He just sat there, defeated. Later that afternoon, my phone rang. It was Mr. Harrison. "Miss Anya," he said, his voice warm, "we've made our decision. The Alastair Group would be delighted to partner with Bright Ideas. We'll be sending over the $2 million contract agreement this afternoon." A wave of pure, unadulterated joy washed over me. I gasped, barely able to speak. "Oh, Mr. Harrison. Thank you. Thank you so much. You won't regret this, I promise." I hung up, my hands shaking, tears pricking my eyes. I had done it. I had actually done it. Not only did I get the contract, but I had faced down Derek Vance and emerged victorious. Chloe arrived at my office a little while later, her face alight with curiosity. "So, tell me everything." I grinned, a huge, uncontainable smile. "We got it, Chloe. The Alastair Group contract. $2 million. I practically shouted it, jumping up and down. Chloe shrieked with delight, hugging me tight. "I knew you could do it. I knew it. What about Derek? Did he get the message?" "Oh, he got the message," I said, a mischievous glint in my eye. "He knew exactly what happened. His face, Chloe, you should have seen his face. It was priceless." Just then, my email dinged. It was the contract. I opened it, the numbers shimmering before my eyes. $2 million. It was real. As I scrolled through the document, Chloe looked over my shoulder, a proud smile on her face. Then, she saw the numbers too. Her smile changed, just slightly. It was a nervous, almost wistful smile. She looked at the contract, then back at me, a silent thought passing between us. This huge victory, this $2 million contract, was now mine. My business, Bright Ideas, would flourish. And Chloe, my loyal, brave sister who saved me from humiliation and helped me orchestrate my revenge, couldn't directly touch a cent of it. She worked for me, yes, and she'd get a bonus, a big one for sure. But the real wealth, the ownership, the recognition, that was all mine. It was a strange, complicated moment, a mix of pure triumph and a quiet understanding of the different paths we walked, even as we celebrated together. Her smile, seeing me walk away with the $2 million contract she couldn't touch, said it all. She saved me, and in return, I got everything. And I knew, truly knew, that I owed her everything. This whole journey, from that panicked whisper in the car to this moment of triumph, taught me about trust, resilience, and the sweet taste of earned victory. What's something you trusted someone on that paid off big time? Let me know in the comments below.